Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are most welcome to the Access Pre-Retirement Seminar 2021. My name is Jeff Asmeni, and I will be your MC for this pre-retirement seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the third edition of the pre-retirement seminar, and we are very happy to have you here. For those of you who have joined us in the past, we are very happy that you've joined us again. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we would like to say that it is good indeed to have you online. Ladies and gentlemen, in a typical Ghanaian fashion, we would like to begin with an opening prayer. And I'm happy to invite our colleague, Anane-Appiah, to say an opening prayer for us. Anane-Appiah, if you're online, please say a prayer for us.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, and good morning to us all. Let's kindly share a word of prayer. Our Father and King, we thank you so much for our lives this day. We thank you for the opportunity to prepare towards this upcoming milestone in our lives. Lord, we take comfort in your word that even as we age, even as our hairs turn gray, you still are the one who sustains us. We ask that today will be a great blessing for each and every one of us here. In Jesus' name have we prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Anane-Appiah. And we are very excited, ladies and gentlemen, that you have joined us once again at our 2021 pre-retirement seminar. And so most of you might have experienced some of these engagements at your respective institutions when we come in to have pre-retirement education for members. However, we've decided to create this platform to bring all of you, whether a client or outside of our clientele list, together this morning so that we would speak to you in totality. We have put together a team of experts in various fields, from social security to health, as well as to financial planning, and even to your tier 2 and tier 3 pensions. And so for the next hour or two, I am sure that it will be very informative and educative as you participate in this seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to begin with an opening and a welcome remarks from no less a person but the Chief Executive Officer here at Access Pension Trust. Please help me welcome Mr. Afriyie Oware.
Right. Cherished clients, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. This morning, we woke up to hear the news of the passing of the legendary actor Oware. Those of us who belong to this generation and older, we can attest to the contribution this man made in his lifetime to entertaining all of us. So before I begin my address, I would like us to observe a minute silence in his honor. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. So on behalf of the board and management of Access Pension Trust, I'm truly honored to welcome you to this year's edition of the annual pre-retirement seminar. This event, which is inspired by our mission to empower the Ghanaian worker to retire with dignity, has become a permanent feature of our calendar as a business. At Access Pension Trust, offering superior value and peace of mind is at the heart of what we do every day. And it is for this reason Access boasts of many industry firsts. Access is the first in the pensions industry to offer a free embedded life insurance cover for all of its clients. And being the first to hold annual general meetings for master trust and personal pension schemes, Access eclipses all the other trustees with respect to transparency and accountability. As the industry leader in innovation, we were the first to achieve 360-degree digital alignment with service channels on WhatsApp, on USSD, on the web, and also on Telegram. This ensures that you, as our cherished clients, would have access to a range of our services wherever you find yourself. Axis also offers an industry-first comprehensive pensions planner that integrates Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 to give clients full visibility of their overall pension prospects. If you haven't tried this particular pension planner, I recommend you visit our website and try it out for yourself. In a similar fashion, this seminar, the first of its kind in the pensions industry, is a testament to the innovative nature of the Axis team and our commitment to ensure you, our cherished client, achieve financial peace of mind in retirement. As income inequality widens in society and graduate unemployment increases, the Ghanaian retiree today bears a greater burden in sustaining families. Our Axis Retirement Annuity Plan, which is a program withdrawal plan, has been designed to ensure that you manage your money properly and prudently to last you a lifetime. Indeed, it is our aim to empower you to become the Axis retiree, and that is in quote, distinguished in every aspect from other retirees. For this reason, we have assembled an experienced and well-resourced experts in their fields to discuss various topics related to your retirement needs, namely, your health in retirement, what to expect at retirement, assessing your retirement benefits from the various schemes, and how to make your retirement income last longer. I am very confident that at the end of the program, you will be equipped to thrive in retirement. I encourage you to engage the seminar speakers and the panelists with all your questions and to ensure that you derive the full benefits of this program. We continue to remain your reliable partner in pensions. And once again, on behalf of the board, our trustees, and management of Axis Pension Trust, we are grateful for your participation. I wish you well, I wish you safe, and I wish you a fruitful session ahead. Thank you very much.
Very much for your warm welcome notes. And now that it's been officially, we have all been welcomed, I'm happy to set the ball rolling for our discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is said that for anybody who fails to plan, that you are definitely planning to fail. And Axis Pension being your reliable partner, we are indeed rather very privileged to be part of your planning towards a comfortable retirement. And so we'd like to begin our conversation from one of the topics that most of us find very interesting, and that is with regards to our social security and national insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a presentation on my pension benefits from your Tier 1, which is administered by the Social Security and National Insurance Trust. Let me just say before I introduce the speaker on this topic that we will be taking questions from you after his presentation. And so whilst he makes his presentation, if you have any question for him, whether on what he has said or on what you want clarity on, please feel free to type your question in the Q&A chat box and we'll read it out to him in order that he can respond. So we will take about 15 minutes presentation from this representative, and then we will take another about 15 minutes answering your questions that you would pose to him right after his presentation. And so without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to invite the head of corporate external communications at the Social Security and National Insurance Trust in the person of Mr. Charles Garshong to do a presentation on your retirement benefit so far as your SSNIT Tier 1 is concerned. Hello, Mr. Garshong.
Hello, sir.
Please confirm if you can hear us so we can take your presentation.
Yes, I can hear you.
Fantastic. We can also hear you and see you clearly. And so we are happy to take your presentations. Like I said, we'll be expecting some questions from our participants. And so please, after your presentation, you would have to stay on a little longer to respond to the questions that will be coming in.
Thank you very much. I believe I can go straight into the, once you can see the slides, I'll go straight.
Yes, please. Please take it over.
All right. Let me first say a big thank you to Access Pensions for this platform. For us, it is an opportunity to always share such platforms to educate our members and to help them understand what really goes into determination of their pensions. As members of Social Security Scheme or as members of the SSNIT scheme, what we know is that we are expecting something from SSNIT, and all we are expecting is pension at the end of our working life. So the 3-tier pension scheme, which was established under the Act 766 and regulated by the NPRA, or the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, mandates SSNIT to operate the first tier. And as first tier pension operator, our focus is to provide you with monthly pension once you retire. And when we talk about retirement, we are looking at old age retirement, or the situation where you retire by virtue of your health condition. So some people have been forced to retire due to their health condition. So doctors have declared you unfit to work again. That is another form of retirement, for which reason SSNIT will have to pay you every month of your life. As members of the scheme, we all contribute a total of 18.5% of our salaries, and SSNIT receives 13.5% on your behalf. But this 13.5% contribution that we receive, 2.5% is remitted to the National Health Insurance Authority. So all we have left with for members is 11% of your salaries. So this 11% of your salaries is what we invest to be able to pay your monthly pensions. Now, the pensions that you take really is not related to any investment that is made or the investment returns. Whatever you take as pension is predetermined. So the law clearly says that for 15 years of contribution, you should receive a certain percentage of the average of your 3 best years' salaries. And every additional year should give you an additional percentage, and that can go way up to 60%. One of the challenges is that a lot of us, when we are contributing, we do not check whether the contributions being paid is actually based on the salaries we earn. We need to know that the salaries on which we contribute is what will determine our pension once we retire. So if you have huge allowances and very small basic salary, and mind you, you don't pay contributions on allowances, the implication is that when you exit, you will get a pension that is commensurate to the salaries you contributed. So if the salaries are low, then your pension will be low. What goes on here at SSNIT? Your monthly contributions that you make is accumulated. So month on month, you need to make a minimum of 180 months to qualify for pension. So if you've worked for 15 years, it means you've secured your 180 months. That may not necessarily be continuous. So if you do 180 months and another does, say, 250 months, the percentage of your salary you'll be receiving will not be same. The one who has more months will get a bigger percentage of the salary. So the longer you contribute, the longer the percentage you get. And if you retire at the compulsory retirement age of 60, you get what we call the full pension, meaning whatever you have qualified for, you receive it. However, if you retire at 55, you get reduced pension. So between 55 and 59, 11 months, you get reduced pension. So for instance, if you are to get 10,000 cedis as your pension at age 60, and they say, I want to retire at 59, you are going to get 90% of that. It means you will get 9,000 cedis. And if you decide to retire at age 58, you are going to get 82.5% of that. It means you are going to get 8,250. And please note, the pension that we pay is subject to annual increment. So I have been saying one thing, that the pension that you receive is based on 3 core factors. 1, the salary that you contributed on, the number of months you have contributed, and the age at which you retire. If you contribute for the first one, that is 15 years, you are going to get 37.5% of your salary as pension. And what I mean as salary, I'm talking about the average of your 3 years best salaries. So the number of months you contribute is what we are calling the pension right. That is what you see in the middle. So if I do 15 years and you contribute 16 years, I will get 37.5%. But you are going to get 37.5% plus 1.125%. If another has done 35 years of contribution, that person qualifies to receive 60% of the average of the 3 years best salaries. So your salaries in time past may not be high. However, getting to the latter part of your working life, if salaries are good, it means your pension will be good. And the last factor is the age at which you retire. As I explained, if you retire before 60, the pension you receive reduces slightly. So this is a demonstration of the number of months you have contributed. So for every additional month, you receive increase. So the range is from 37.5% up to a maximum of 60%. So if you look at it clearly, how long you have worked, which will determine the percentage, depends on you and not SSNIT. The salaries on which you contribute depends on you and the employer, not SSNIT. The age at which you retire depends solely on you. So these 3 things come to play, and all of them come from you, and they will determine the pension that you will receive. So you'll see clearly that really, SSNIT does not really go into any calculations. It will only pick the factors that you have brought and put them into the formula that is determined in the law, and your pensions will be computed. So what you see on your screen now is what we call the early retirement factor. The early retirement factor. So with the early retirement factor, the table is telling you that if you are 55 years and now no additional month, you are getting 60% or 0.6 of what you should have gotten at 60. So if you look at the column, you are seeing 55 years, then 0, 1. 1 means you have 55 years and additional month. You realize that the percentage increases and it goes on up to 59, 11 months. This year, as at the beginning, this was how the highest paid pensioners were faring. On monthly basis, we pay someone close to 130,000 cedis every month on monthly basis. So somebody, yesterday we paid pension. Okay, every 3rd Thursday of the month we pay pensions. So yesterday somebody took home 129,000 plus as his pension. So these are the top 10 as at the beginning of the year. The lower part has changed slightly anyway. Some new people have come in with much higher figures. But one thing we should note, that from 2010, those of us who are retiring under Act 766, because of the cap on the salaries on which contributions are paid, it was being capped on 25%. So even if you get the maximum 60% of the 25,000, which is the cap, it means your pension can go as high as 15,000, subject to annual increment. So every year we increase pension depending on the economic factors through a process we call the indexation. So these pensions you are seeing on the screen, by January 2022, all of them will go up so long as they are alive. And the pensions we pay are paid for life. So long as you live, SSNIT will keep paying you with annual adjustment. So long as you live, the pensions will not stop. However, from age 75, for those of us who will be retiring under the Act 766, from age 75, you will have to renew what we call the pensioner certificate. We need to certify that you are alive to continue paying you. And so this month, just yesterday, when we pay the pensions, we had to delete over 22,000 pensioners from the payroll because they are 72 and older, and they've not showed up to renew their certificate. Neither have they invited us to come to their homes to renew their certificate. If you don't renew after age 75, for those of us retiring under the National Pensions Act, the assumption is that we are no more, and so we don't deserve to pay. However, should they call us today and say we are still alive, we will restore their names after vetting to be sure that they are indeed alive. What happens is that before we take people's names off, we go to them, try to ensure that they are there, and we use all the communication means that we provide. If the person we are unable to reach out to the person or get to the person, then we take the name off. So some work goes into that. I'll talk about the last thing, then I'll pause for the questions. If you retire, we pay you your monthly pension, and if you had made contribution prior to January 2010, if you had a single contribution with us, we give you what we call past credit. So past credit is simply 4% of the contribution you brought to us. Okay, so 4% of your salaries that you contributed on prior to January 2010. So all the salaries you ever earned or contributed to SSNIT, we take 4% of it and return to you as past credit. And in returning, we pay interest on this amount. The interest that is applicable to this 4% from the date of first contribution up to 31st December 2009 is 50% of prevailing treasury bill rate. Now, from when the law started, or we started implementing the Act 766, that is January 2010, the applicable interest is full treasury bill. So we apply 100% of the 91-day treasury bill from January 2010 up to the last day you come for your money. So when you retire, in addition to the monthly pension we pay you, you will also receive past credit from us, provided you had made contribution prior to January 2010. And that is a top-up to the lump sum you will receive from your fund manager. So if you go to Axis for your lump sum, you still have past credit to take from us. So if you check your statement from our website, or you visit any of our offices for your SSNIT statement, or those of you who received your SSNIT statement last 2 months, every quarter we send statement to members. So if you have not been receiving your statement, it simply means we don't have your email address. So after this session, I will advise you update your contact details so you'll be receiving your statement from next month when we issue the third quarter. You will see beneath the statement past credit. So your past credit is displayed on the statement that we give to you, and that changes periodically because every month interest is being computed. The past credit the myth around it is all that I've explained to you. It is simply a top-up of your lump sum, and it is paid to people who had contribution with SSNIT or who were members and contributing before 31st December 2009. In case you are retiring and you have not contributed for the minimum 180 months or 15 years, we will put your money together, all your contributions you've made with us, plus interest, and refund it to you. So your total contribution plus accrued interest will be given to you. That is what we call the refund, or you may want to call it a lump sum. In the event something comes up and you are declared unfit to continue working, assuming you are 58 or 55 or 50 years, you will be treated as having attained age 60, so you qualify to receive full pension, and you will be processed under invalidity pension. As we speak, we have about 1,500 invalid pensioners on our payroll. Every month, they get millions of Ghana cedis, some of them as young as 30 years. And so long as they remain in their invalid state, SSNIT will continue paying them with annual adjustment. However, if they should recover, the assumption will be that they've not taken anything from the scheme at all, so they will continue from where they left off. In the event a pensioner or a member dies, we are going to pay your total benefit to your nominated dependent, and that is what we term survivor's benefit. So even if you retire, we advise that you keep renewing revising your nominees or your beneficiaries. So keep updating your beneficiaries and make sure the right people get the benefit, so long as you are below the age 75. After 75 years, if a pensioner should die, there's nothing paid to the nominees or the beneficiaries. So please and please again, if you have not updated your beneficiary, don't think you are nearing pension, so you are not part of it. You need to do it, because if you retire and say a pensioner dies at 65, we have an unexpired period of 10 years between 65 and 75. There's 10 years of contribution yet to be collected. So that will be paid to you. Sorry, that will be paid to your validly nominated dependent. In summary, what you need to do now that you are nearing pension is to ensure that your contributions are paid promptly and they are paid regularly on the correct salary. As I said, your pension is going to be determined on the average of your 3 best year salaries, together with how long you have contributed. So the time to ensure the right thing is done is now. Don't get 4,000 cedis allowance and 3,000 cedis basic pay, because that will gravely affect your pension. That will gravely affect your pension. Check your statement of account periodically. As I said, if you have not shared your email address, you can get in onto our social media pages or call our contact center on 0302 611 622 and share with us your email address so we can do the right thing for you. So if you have any concerns, you can contact us on the lines that I have displayed. Thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garshong. As usual and as always, this is always an insightful presentation anytime we engage you on our platform. And as expected, there are a tall list of questions that I would read out to you. Maybe I'll take them in batches of 3 so you can respond to them as and when I am done with the 3 questions. So I'll start with a few of the questions, 3 of them, so you can respond, and I'll come back with another 3. The first question is from Madam Lucy, and she says that does SSNIT not cap the basic contribution to 25,000? If so, how does a person earn? How come a person is earning 129,000 monthly. Let me read that again. She says that, does SSNIT not cap the basic salary contribution at 25,000? If so, how come somebody is earning a monthly pension benefit of 129,000? The second question is also from Anane-Appiah. Anane-Appiah wants to know, where do we go to update our email addresses with SSNIT? Where do we go to update our email addresses with SSNIT? Maybe the last question I will read for now is from Ebenezer. Ebenezer wants to know that I am more than 60 years and still working and contributing to SSNIT. How does that affect my person or my pension benefits? I'm more than 60 years and I still contribute to SSNIT. How does that affect my pension? Please, Mr. Garshong, if you can take these questions.
All right, thank you very much. The first one, I think I explained that most of the people that were displayed on the screen, they retired under the PNDC law 247. So as at 31st December 2019, those people were already 60 years. So their contributions were all under PNDC law 247. So that is historical data. They are still on the pension payroll. So I went further to explain that for most of us retiring from now, we will not be able to make it up to that point because of the cap that has been introduced under the Act 766. So that is that is the explanation I gave. So for those of us retiring now, I think now it's being considered at 35,000. And please, the cap is not done or determined by SSNIT alone. It is done in conjunction with the regulator, the NPRA. So that answers the first one. Now, if you want to update your contact details, you can do so by sending an email to contactcenter@snet.org.gh. Contact center, the center TRE @snet.org.gh. You can also visit social media pages at SSNIT Ghana. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at SSNIT Ghana. Once you get there, send us your details inbox. Send us your name, phone number, SSNIT number, and the email address inbox. We'll run some background check to be sure that you are the same person coming to do the update, and we'll do that for you. Those of us who want to go to the SSNIT office also, you can visit any of our 51 branches across the country or day offices and have it done there. So that is that. Then the one who is above 60 and still contributing, yes, your contribution will not go waste. It's going to affect the number of months you have contributed. If you have not done the maximum 420 months, every additional month you are bringing in contribution is going to increase the pension right. That is a percentage of your best salaries you should receive. And probably the salaries on which you are contributing now may be better than the salaries of yesterday. So that will also affect the amount you receive as pension.
Very well.
I think that's it for the 3 questions.
Yes, that's the first 3 questions. I would go to the next set of questions as well, and kindly indulge me. The next one is from Al-Hassan. Al-Hassan is asking, if a person fails to show up to fill the life certificate on the date that he is supposed to do so and shows up months later, what happens to the months that he has lost? Will you pay him for those past months? Then the next one is from Hayford. Hayford wants to know if you can kindly explain or come again on the past credit. And please, can I get the past credits if I haven't retired? So if you can highlight a bit more on the past credits. And the question is, can you have access to your past credits even if you haven't retired? The next one is from Afriyie, and he says, how do you get SSNIT's personal details updated after marriage? Even after updating it on the website, you still have former names showing on your statement. what accounts do we, what do we do on this? So Aquile wants to know, I think she has sent the details, but it has not reflected on her statement. So how do we go about
she sent it through email.
So these are the 3 questions that you could address again, please.
All right, so thank you very much. First, life certificate. If your name is taken off the payroll because you didn't renew your pensioner certificate, and it is even taken off for a year, you don't lose that year pension. Once you show up or you contact us and we visit you to confirm, and your name is being restored, you get, let me call it, back pay. So all the months your pensions were withheld will be restored to you. So you lose really nothing. But if it is possible, just contact us, let us visit you to get it done. And it is better than waiting to go through that stress of having your name taken off and being restored, even though your money will be paid to you. So please, you don't lose your money, but don't go through that stress if possible. The past credit. So this is the past credit. I have been on SSNIT contribution from 1991. As at 2009, I have made 19 years of contribution already. My total salary from 1991 to 2009 was let me put it, 10,000 cedis. So that 10,000 cedis total salary, not total contribution, but total salary. Of this salary, 17.5% was given to SSNIT. Now, it is only 13.5% that is coming to SSNIT. So there's a difference of 4%. That 4% difference is being returned or refunded to you with interest. So if the total salary for the 19 years is 10,000 cedis, the 4% component is going to be 400 cedis. That 400 cedis has accrued some interest, and the interest that is applied to the 400 cedis is 50% of the treasury bill rate up to the December 2009. Now, from January 2010 up to the last day you exit the scheme or you apply for your benefit, you are going to calculate interest on it using 91-day treasury bill rate, compounded quarterly. The 91-day treasury bill rate, compounded quarterly. That is what is going to be computed and given to you. So that is your past credit. You cannot assess your past credit before retirement. You only assess it when you are exiting, when you are retiring. So once you put in your application for your pension, your past credit is paid together with your pension. We don't pay one before the other. So that is that. On the issue of change of name, if you get married or you go through any formal process and you have your name changed and gazetted, you need to only visit any of our offices, give us evidence of that, and we'll use it to update it. Unfortunately, for now, you cannot do it online. You will need to provide evidence at any of our touch points, and we'll have it done for you. So the lady, in case you sent us a mail and you didn't go to the office to provide those evidence, let us have it at our branch. However, if you did, then after the program, you can just send us a mail and I'll see to that for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garshong. So as you would expect, there still are questions coming in, so I'll crave your indulgence to kindly stay on a little longer so I can read them out to you.
Very well.
Peter wants to know that if I'm earning 5,000 cedis and I have contributed for 180 months, in the event that I go on pension, how much do I receive from SSNIT? That's from Peter. Amos also wants to know that I'm currently 52 years old and I have done 303 months of contribution. can I go on retirement and enjoy my pensions?
How old again, the age again?
I think the last one for this round, there's no name to it, but it says, how can you check the list of beneficiaries with SSNIT before you update? So is there a way of confirming what SSNIT has on record for beneficiaries before it is updated? So Mr. Garshong, if you can respond to this 3 too.
All right, thank you. So the first one, 5,000 cedis, how do you, and you've done 180 months exactly. As I explained, the law says for 180 months of contribution, you qualify for 37.5% of the average of your 3 years best annual salaries as your pension. So I want to assume that this 5,000 cedis is consistent over, say, a 3-year period. So the annual salaries would have been 60,000. Then if you find the average, you're getting, say, 60,000. So the monthly average is 5,000. If you strike that by 37.5%, they are likely to start on a pension of 1,875 cedis. And this is subject to annual increments. So on the flip side, the person who has done a longer period of service and gets the maximum 60% is going to get 3,000 as a monthly pension. So the duration counts. So for 180 months, your starting pension is going to be 1,875 cedis. The next question has got to do with 52 years having contributed for a certain number of months. You cannot assess your pension because the minimum age the law puts in there is 55 years. Because you are not 55 years, for normal industry workers, then you don't qualify to assess. So you have 3 more years to qualify to assess by way of age. And the last one, if you visit our office to update your nominees or beneficiaries, whatever you provide automatically overwrites what is there. So you can request to see. However, that will not really do any good because you are providing a new list that is going to overwrite whatever is there. The most important thing is for you to ensure you do it and do it. The law says you should do it at least once every 5 years. But I tell people that if you get home and your spouse makes you happy, you can come and add the name to it. If your spouse makes you unhappy, the next day, quickly come and take the name off, and it is at no cost to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. That's a very interesting one, Mr. Garshong. So even though we still have a lot of questions, what I'll do is I'll read the last batch of it, and then maybe we'll make Mr. Gershong's email address available so that we can push some of the questions for you to respond, and then we'll get back to the participants. So the last round of questions for Mr. Garshong. This one is from Kwesi. He says, my spouse has not done 180 months and is now 55. Can she come for a full refund of her pensions? My spouse has not done 180 months, but is now 55. Can she come for a refund of her full pension? That's from Kwesi. Patrick is saying, I have a mentally ill brother who is working. I want to know how we can assess his SSNIT benefits under the circumstance. The last one is from Lucy. Lucy wants to know, when is the best time to start applying for your pension with SSNIT? Do you wait until 60 years or do you do it months before retirement? So,
all right. The first one has got to do with the one whose spouse has done less than 180 months of contribution and is 55 years. I will advise, if possible, continue and make sure you get a 180 months since the person is not 60 years. Because if you start a monthly pension, it is for life with annual adjustment. However, if you can apply for a refund of your contribution, but that is simply going to be the actual contribution that came in plus accrued interest. And that is really nothing compared to the monthly pension you'll be receiving. Because if you care to know what you get, what you bring in monthly is actually 11% of your salary. So you bring in 11% of your salary, and that is what is going to qualify you to receive up to as high as 60% of your salary. You don't get 60% of what you brought us, rather 60% of your salary, meaning it is going to be up to a maximum of about 500 and something percent of the best salaries you brought, best contributions you brought to us. It is going to be multiplied by over 5 times and paid to you. So when we are talking about these things, I always say, let's be interested in how sustainable it is and not the quantum. So that is just on the first one. So you can actually apply and have the money refunded to you with interest. On the issue of the mentally ill person, probably, I'm sure the question got lost a bit. If the person was working and is now mentally ill, and the person has at least 12 months of contribution within the past 6 months prior to he becoming mentally ill, he qualifies to receive invalidity pension. But that should have been certified by a qualified medical practitioner and not a qualified pastor or imam. So once we have medical records indicating that indeed the person qualifies to be declared invalid, we'll have a medical board and we'll invite you. You only apply, go to the nearest SSNIT branch, apply that this is the situation, provide the SSNIT number, or even if you don't know, we'll go through our system to retrieve the number. We'll take the person through the process. You meet a medical board to assess that indeed this is the situation and not that I am acting mad. Meanwhile, I'm really very okay. So what we do, once established and the person has the number of months, that is 12 months, 3 years prior to his condition, we put him on the monthly pension. And in this case, there's going to be someone to stand in the gap for him, and we'll be paying the pension to whoever is going to oversee to his welfare. So every month will be paying, and he will also be receiving the annual increment like any other pensioner does. Then the best time to apply for pension, as I speak, with the average processing time, that is the time it takes for you to receive your pension after application, is less than 3 weeks. So if you put in your pension today, within the next 3 weeks maximum, you should get your pension paid. In fact, for most people who have been checking their statements often, and they've declared to us that their statements are correct, if they should apply today, Friday, there's a likelihood that by next week, Friday, you'll get their pension. There's a likelihood. So make sure that your things are correct by checking with us as often as possible. So you can, if you've not been checking your statement, months before your retirement, you can walk to us and say, I want to check my records, so I want to put in my application. We will take your documents. However, we'll start a process once you turn 60, the day you turn 60. So with such a person, within a matter of days, you will get your money. So the assurance is that it doesn't take long to receive your money. What you need to do is to ensure that you have checked your records and updated them with us. Make sure your work history with us is very, very correct and accurate, and we'll let you have your pension within no time.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for the insight that you have given to us, Mr. Garshong. We are very grateful. And maybe the last thing I'll ask of you is to kindly mention again the telephone number and email addresses that people can reach out to in the event that they need further clarification on anything that you have said. So if you can kindly put out the email and telephone number that we can reach out to again.
Okay, so you can get us on 0302 611 622. 0302 611 622. Or you can send us email, contact center, one word, contact center, the center TRE, the last three letters, contact center at snit.org.gh, contact center at SSNIT.org.gh. You can also get to us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. We are pretty active there. There's a team handling all your comments that you may be sending there. So that is SNIT Ghana, SNIT Ghana. Send us any contact and we will be there. So I'll still be around. I'm not gone yet. So once the panel discussion starts, I will still be taking your concerns.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Garshong. And of course, we would reach out to you again if we have further questions. Thank you so much for making time to join us on our pre-retirement seminar. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that you would agree with me that this has been a very insightful presentation. And this is just the first of many presentations to come. And so please sit tight. There will be a lot more information that you will be receiving this morning. The next presenter will be doing a presentation on what to expect at retirement. Now that we have heard from SSNIT and the dynamics that goes into its computation of your pension benefits, we want to know, how does it really feel like when you go or when you exit the workforce and enter the senior citizenship status? To do this is a retiree himself. He is a former medical doctor and has been on retirement for a couple of years now. To share experience on what to expect during retirement, I'm happy to invite to do a presentation Dr. Bernard Boateng-Duah. Hello, Doc. Are you with us, please? Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Great, we can hear you. I hope you are ready with your presentation as well. If you are, you can just share your screen and your presentation. You can activate your camera as well so that we can relate to you and we know that you are indeed a senior citizen. So we can also take your presentation as well, Doc. I think your camera is coming up. You haven't come up yet, but I'm sure you'll be coming up very soon.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doc.
And thank you for having me. Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Boateng-Duah, and I'm 3 years into my retirement.
So make a skip.
Hello, do you hear me now?
I get the impression that your internet is a little unstable. And so what we will do is we will try as much as possible to reconnect. Hopefully by then we would get a more stable internet from your end. So what we will do is, Doc, we will take your presentation after this one, even though this one was supposed to come after yours. So we would skip your presentation, hopefully in order that we are able to establish a better internet connection, and then we'll come back to you. So we would rather take a presentation on my retirement benefits, which is focused on tier 2 and tier 3. We have just heard from SSNIT, which is tier 1, on the dynamics of your pension contribution and computation. We will take a presentation on your defined contribution scheme, which is your tier 2 and tier 3, in order that we can, we'll be aware of what to expect from those 2 other pots of contribution schemes as well. And so to help us to understand the dynamics involved in your tier 2 and tier 3 pension scheme, I'm happy to invite to do a presentation the head of corporate relations here at Access Pension, in the person of Mr. Emmanuel Ntreh. Please let's put our hands together for him.
Hello. Hi. Thank you very much, Jeff, and good morning to everyone. So my presentation, as mentioned by Jeff, it's on my retirement benefits. That's tier 2 and 3 pension scheme. So just by way of focusing on the presentation, I'll be touching on retirement benefits under Act 766, challenges in assessing your benefits, assessing pension benefits with respect to the processes involved, sources of information, using Access mobile app, and also the client portal. So we just had a presentation by SSNIT, which is the tier 1. So I'll just zoom in, as I said, this on tier 2 and tier 3. So tier 2 is a mandatory pension scheme. So as an employer, you are mandated by law to contribute towards the pension for your members. Tier 3 is a voluntary scheme, which is not compulsory. So you should definitely count yourself blessed if you find yourself in an institution that contributes towards a tier 3 provident fund. So both tier 2 and tier 3 are managed by licensed corporate trustees. Now, with respect to the contributions, okay, 5% of your basic salary is contributed on your behalf by your employer into the tier 2 scheme, and the 3 has up to 16.5% of basic salary tax qualified contributions. For both schemes, they are a defined contribution scheme, unlike what we witnessed under the presentation by SSNIT. So what defined contribution basically means is that the total contributions that you have made, okay, these contributions are invested. So at the end of the period, both the contributions and the accrued benefits is the sum of pensions, or the amount that is paid to you as pensions. And under tier 2 and tier 3, you will be receiving a lump sum benefit, unlike the monthly pensions under SSNIT. So lump sum benefit is from tier 2 and tier 3. So as you are preparing to proceed on retirement, if your institution only contributes towards tier 2, then you should expect to receive benefits from the tier 2 pot. If you do both tier 2 and tier 3, then definitely you should expect to receive pensions from both the tier 2 and tier 3 pot. One thing we have come to realize is that people usually face challenges when they are assessing their pension benefits. And you see, some of the reasons for which these challenges come about is because of lack of knowledge on how to begin processing pension benefits, and also incomplete and missing records. So even where to commence the processing of your pension, some people don't even know which institution to engage in. At the time of retirement, you check your statement and there are gaps. All these things leads to delay in submission of your retirement applications. And even by extension, it also delays when you are supposed, or when you receive your pension benefits. And the other challenge is not porting your pension funds, okay? So the law allows individuals to transfer their pension funds from their previous employer to the current employer. So in the event where in your working life, let's assume you have been engaged by 4 different employers, okay? And all these employers, you have pension benefits sitting with them. So at the time of 60 years, beyond engaging your current employer, you will now have to chase those 4 different employers. Structures might have changed in that institution. People you thought you knew might have moved on. So sometimes you might not even have the energy to even go around following up for all these benefits. So I will entreat you that during this little time you have or period, kindly engage your HR or contact Access, okay? And request for a transfer in form. If you have some funds with a previous employer, remember when it comes to pensions, every CD is important, irrespective of how much that money is. Complete the form. Access will coordinate with your previous employer's corporate trustee and ensure that we transfer your funds to your current employer so we can consolidate. So at the point of retirement, you know that I'm only engaging my current employer. What are the processes that one needs to follow in assessing their benefits? That's for tier 2 and tier 3. You need to complete an Access withdrawal form. This form is actually available with either your HR or account officers. So after completing the form, you attach a copy of your national ID and submit it to the HR office. HR team will scan the form and submit the form to Access for processing. But processing will be done only when the contribution for your last working month is credited to your account. So when Access receives your form, we review. If everything is complete, then we go ahead to process and instruct the custody bank to make payments directly into your account. So what is the processing period? Okay, so for the master trust scheme, that is if you find yourself under either the CEDA pension scheme or the CEDA provident fund, the processing period is within 5 working days. And for the standalone, that's the employer sponsor scheme, processing is done within 30 working days. It is very important to note that you have to indicate your correct bank account details. In the event where you indicate an incorrect account details, the payment instruction goes to the bank. The bank now comes to us to provide correct bank account details. We have to now get in touch with you, and all these things also delays the processing of your funds and also the receipt of your benefits. So make sure that in the completion of the form, you provide an accurate bank account details so that you can receive your funds promptly. Okay. Now, when it comes to pensions, okay, and more especially even as you are approaching towards retirement, it is very important that you constantly interact with the entities that are involved in processing of your benefits, be it SSNIT for tier 2, tier 3, in this case is Access Pension Trust. It is important because you need to know the processes involved and also have access to your statements. Check your records. Are there any missing gaps in my statement? Has the employer contributed the correct amount and all that? It is very important. And at Access Pension Trust, we take priority in transparency and also making quite a number of channels available for members to have access to. So some of the channels and source of information we have is the scheme booklets, the quarterly fund fact sheet, and also the annual report. This basically gives you information on the scheme and also how well the scheme is performing. We also have the USSD code, which is *1860#. I'll be glad if you can try that now. If you're an MTN or Vodafone user, you can do that now. Just dial *1860#. So the 18 simply means, is the age at which an individual is an adult, and the 60 years is when one proceeds to retirement. So *1860#, then you follow the prompt to register. We also have the toll-free call center. The number is 080-000-1860. 080-000-1860. We also have a wide branch network. We have branches in Accra. We have one in Kumasi. We have Takrady. We also have Tamale. So you can visit any of these branches to be assisted accordingly. Then we have the WhatsApp and also the Telegram platform. You can send hi to Afrakuma on WhatsApp. 026 1860 000. Kindly save this number as well, 026 1860 000, and engage Afriyie. Afriyie will address all your questions, any pension related questions you have, been able to assess your information. If you have a personal investment with us, you can equally have access to those information. Then we have the online portal and the mobile app. So I'll quickly zoom into the mobile app and the client portal as well, how to access the Axis mobile app. So it's a very simple process. You just have to download the Axis Pension mobile app on either the Play Store or the App Store. Now you need either your SSNIT number or your Axis member number to log in, okay? So when you log in and your ID is successful, you'll be required to input your email address or phone number, okay? So you put in an email address and phone number. And more importantly, the email address and phone number should be what Axis has in their system. If you are able to verify your phone number or SSNIT number, your phone number or email address, we will send you a login PIN. This login PIN is valid for 30 days, okay? So within the 30 days, anytime you want to access the mobile app, you use the same login PIN, but after 30 days, you'll be required to request for a new PIN to be able to have access to it. We also have the Axis CRM portal. The URL was shared on the screen. So the process is similar to the Axis mobile app. Now, what is important is that we usually get complaints from clients that I'm trying to access the mobile app. I'm unable to access the mobile app. It is important to know that if you input an invalid member number or SSNIT number, we will not be able to verify. So make sure that the member number or SSNIT number you have inputted during the login process is accurate. Then again, if we don't have your phone number or email address in our system, you will not be able to continue the process. So you can kindly contact your HR team, or you can get in touch with Axis Pension, provide us with your correct email and phone number, then we can update your records for you. It is important that as you are approaching retirement, do well to interact with us as often as possible. Make sure you have access and you have answers to all questions that you have. You are checking your statement promptly. Be like an auditor as far as your statement is concerned. If you have worked for 12 months in a year, if it's 2019, manually counts the number of months if it's 12 months, and also check the amount as well. If there is an unfamiliar transaction on the statement, you are not sure, engage HR. You can contact Axis, because as you proceed on retirement, every CD and PESWA count, and also to avoid delay your pensions. Thank you very much. We'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. We are grateful for your presentation. And like Emmanuel said, Axis is a 360-degree digitally inclined service provider. And so there are various platforms that allows you to access your account, whether on USSD or with Afriyie, or which is on WhatsApp, or you want to access it using our online portal, as well as our call center, which is 14 hours available to you. We noticed there are questions coming in for Emmanuel, but what we will do for the sake of time is that we will take a couple more presentations and then we'll lump all the questions together. And then we would call our presenters to speak to those questions. And so kindly keep your questions coming. All of it will be responded to accordingly at the right time. But because we want to take as many presentations as possible, we would go to the next presentation. The next presentation will be done on how to manage your retirement benefits to last your retirement life, or to last your retirement. How to manage your retirement benefits to last your retirement. The good thing is that we have a financial planner in-house here at Axis Pension and a whole team that is into financial planning. And so at every point in time, once you are available or once you want to speak to any of our financial planners, our next presenter is the head of the financial planning unit, and herself and her team will be available to speak with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to invite Mimi Anane-Appiah to do a presentation on how to manage your retirement to last your retirement period. Please let's put our hands together for her.
Honored to be here today to present to you how to manage your retirement benefits to last you your retirement. We'll be going briefly through your dream retirement, dealing with shortfalls, and how the Access Retirement Annuity Plan can help you to manage the shortfall. Every one of us dreams of a comfortable retirement, a retirement where we can spend with people we love, doing the things we love. But with retirement, just like any other stage in life, comes certain challenges. And we'll want to tackle a few of these challenges. We all know that as we age, we get weaker. Certain sicknesses that you weren't prone to when you were younger, you become more prone to them. As a result, you end up spending more in terms of health costs. Unfortunately, for most of us, our companies are no longer going to be handling these costs. It's going to be coming from our pockets. And this is one of the major concerns for most retirees. Just a few companies I know handle healthcare costs throughout retirement. And so for most of us, this is a concern. Another thing is inflation. In December last year, a gallon of fuel was 4.7 Ghana cedis. As we speak, a 6.51. That is 39% increase in less than a year. The question is, by what percentage is your pensions increasing on an annual basis to deal with these increments? Let's take milk, let's take water, let's take all these things that we buy with our money. As these prices increases year on year, it threatens our purchasing power. That means that if we are earning the same income or a bit more, we may not be able to afford the same lifestyle we could have afforded a year before just because of inflation. And that poses a threat to us once we go on retirement. We all know pensions in Ghana are low. As at this year, we had 53% of retirees taking less than 1,000 Ghana cedis. As Mr. Garshong rightfully said, this is because of the lack of education. We're not making sure that whatever salaries we are paying our SSNIT pensions on is decent enough. By the time you retire, you're taking something pretty low. If you're taking low pensions, I'm sure financial troubles will be one of the things that you would be very afraid or scared about, because that means you cannot meet a lot of your retirement needs. Volatility in pensions is also something that we should be concerned about. If you retired in Mohammed's time, when probably T-bills was doing 25%, and your plan was to invest your lump sum in treasury bills, probably you would have had a certain amount of money. Now T-bills is 12%. So that means a reduction in your income expected from your investments. Longevity, something most of us don't think about. I've realized from discussions that I have with people is for some reason, Ghanaians expect to die early. But life expectancy or per our census tells us that for men at 60, you are expected to live for 16 more years, and for women, 18 more years. My question always is that, should God bless you with the 16 more years as a man or 18 more years as a woman? Are you going to endure or you're going to enjoy? Also look at the oldest person in your family. For me, it's my grandmother. She just turned 90 this year. If I should live as long as she did, how am I going to survive? And for me, this is a challenge we need to think about when we are going on retirement. According to financial planners, they say that if you have 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. That is the income you were earning just before you entered retirement. You should be comfortable. And this is a global rule of thumb. However, in Ghana, the situation is a bit different. We are advised to have at least 100% of our pre-retirement income when we are going on retirement. And the reason being because of our socio-cultural setting. Once you proceed on retirement, you are now an ebusiaping, especially if you worked in a nice company like most of us have been doing over the years. You'll probably be going for a lot of funerals, paying some money here and some money there. You may even probably be taking care of some family members. So unlike those who are outside, who focus on themselves and with no or little focus on family, it's not the same situation for us here in Ghana. And it's something that we need to think of and plan before we proceed on retirement. Now, we've mentioned what the expectations are. The best salary we should be earning, which is we should be replacing our income by, which is 100%. But what is the situation on the ground? The truth is that no matter what you do, we'll all experience an income shortfall once we go on retirement, and I'll explain why. So let's take an example of Mr. Mensah. As Mr. Garshong rightfully said, SSNIT takes into consideration your best 3 years annual salary and then defined an average of that. So Mr. Mensah's best 3-year salary was 5,000 Ghana cedis, which is 60,000 Ghana cedis per annum. His next was 58,000, which is 4,800 Ghana cedis per annum. And the third best, 44,000, which is 3,666,000 Ghana cedis per annum. This is added and divided by 3 to get the average of your best 3-year salary, which is 54,000 Ghana cedis. What is SSNIT going to do with this? Mr. Garshong mentioned that to qualify for SSNIT pensions, you should earn a minimum of, so you should have contributed for a minimum of 15 years, and that will earn you 37.5%. Every additional year you contribute would earn you an additional percentage of 1.125% more. The maximum you can get is 60%, and that is contributing for 35 years and above. So let's assume in this case, Mr. Mensah had contributed for the minimum 15 years. The maximum he can get is 1,687.5. Let's assume he did the maximum of 35 years plus. The maximum he can get is 2,700. Mind you, he was used to a basic salary of 5,000 Ghana cedis. We haven't spoken about allowances or income from side hustles that they were involved in when they were actively working. So we definitely see that no matter what you do, an income shortfall is imminent. The question becomes, how do we deal with this income shortfall since it's inevitable? How do we deal with income shortfall? I'm going to share with you 2 points. The first point is to budget and reduce your expenses. Budget and reduce your expenses. Budgeting is simply a spending plan. Basically, before you earn your money, you are sitting down to put down a plan that this is how I want the money to be spent. And in retirement, this even becomes more important because, as I said, resources are scarce. Now, in budgeting, you have to know the difference between your essentials and your discretionary expenses. Essentials meaning things you need to survive: water, food, transportation. Discretionary things meaning things that you can do without. You need to know the difference. The reason being, we want to focus on making sure that your essentials are met, and once that is done, we can look at the discretionary expenses too. Now, in this situation, Mr. Mensah is earning Social Security or SSNIT of 1,850 Ghana cedis. Before retirement, when he put his monthly budget together, he was spending 3,500 Ghana cedis, and I have indicated what it is he was spending his money on. His ideal pre-retirement budget is to spend 3,800 Ghana cedis. He foresees that he may not be buying food from outside, so 800 Ghana cedis is enough. After all, he's been told to eat fruits and vegetables. I'm sure you've been told to. Utilities, well, he'll be at home more, so he thinks he will spend a bit more. For transportation, he may not be going to work all the time. So that you see there's a reduction. Basic healthcare, as I said, the company will not be catering for that anymore. So he has to cater for that. And because he wants some kind of quality, he's looking at 600 Ghana cedis a month. Definitely, he's now on retirement. All those funerals and weddings, he was given excuses he couldn't attend. Now he has all the time. He'll be doing a lot more travel and a lot more time for entertainment. So that his budget has increased by 1,000 Ghana cedis. And for clothing, 350, obviously, he wouldn't be wearing his suit and tie and all the nice clothing we see. So you see that from this budget, expenses that were related to work have been dropped, and expenses that are related to entertainment have increased. And this is his ideal budget. This is what is going to make him comfortable. Unfortunately, as I said, there's an income shortfall. His social security is 1,800 Ghana cedis, and his budget is 3,800. So that gives a deficit of 1,950 Ghana cedis. What is he going to do about it? One way is to reduce expenses. If you realize all the items of his budget and the adjusted budget have been reduced to make room to allow whatever he has to work for him. Unfortunately, this may mean an uncomfortable lifestyle. Probably instead of driving, he may have to opt for public transport sometimes because he doesn't have the money. Probably he could have gone to a private hospital and reduced the time he spends in the hospital, but he'll probably have to go to a hospital, public hospital, where he can get cheaper health care. And, that means sitting in a long queue for longer hours. And so all these things have implications, but if you don't have an option, this is the only thing you can do, reduce your spending. The next suggestion, the next option is to generate an income through program drawdowns. Now, when it comes to retirement, a lot of us have an idea on what we want to do to boost our income, which is good. But I realized that by the time you are retiring, you have to reduce your risk, because unlike someone like me, if I had a lump sum, I use it for business, it doesn't go well, I go back into employment, I start again. When you're in retirement, you may not have those opportunities. So how you use your lump sum to generate additional income is very important. That's why here at Access, we encourage you to keep your money invested and buy a program drawdown. So Mr. Mensah again, he's expecting to live for 75 years, and he wants an income replacement ratio of 100%, just as was advised. He has a tier 2, he has a tier 3, and a tier 3, and we are expecting that after retirement, let's even assume interest rates are just, very conservative at the rate of 14.5%. Now, as we said, if you are 15, if you contribute to SSNIT tier 2 or your provident fund for 15 years, you are expecting that SSNIT will be able to replace your income by 38%. If you put your tier 2 in an annuity plan or a program drawdown, that will further replace your income by 7%. If you have a provident fund of 16.5%, which you've done for 15 years, and by God's grace, you decide to put it in a program drawdown, that will also add another 24%. So even though you were earning 38% from SSNIT, you are able to hit 60%, at least closer to the 100% desire or require goal that you have. Now, if you were able to contribute to SSNIT for 35 years, all the better. SSNIT is able to replace your income by 60%. If you have a tier 2, you put it into a program drawdown, an additional 26%. A tier 3 provident fund, you add, that's an additional 81%. When you add that, that is more than 160% of your income that you are able to replace. Definitely a comfortable retirement is smiling at you. In Access, we have something we call the Access Retirement Annuity Plan. And I'm sure some of you have already heard about the Access Retirement Annuity Plan. What does it do? As I said, when you go on retirement, your lump sum, how you manage your lump sum is very, very important. It's probably the biggest money you may see throughout your career. In Axis, we have the Axis Retirement Annuity Plan, which is an investment plan which converts your lump sum benefits from either your Tier 2, your Provident Fund, even your past credit that SSNIT mentioned, or any other investment into a stream of regular income. Now, what this does for you is that it complements other sources of retirement income and bridges the income gap. So you may be getting something from SSNIT, even some small business, which may be giving you some unstable income. You may be getting some sources here and there, but you want to use the annuity plan to close that gap, the gap between what you are earning and what you need to have a comfortable retirement. Secondly, it also provides a regular stream of steady income, which is important because this is a dependable plan. You know that every month you have some income coming in. It's not coming in today and tomorrow you wouldn't see it anymore. It's stable and it's consistent. Thirdly, it ensures that your retirement savings are not exhausted. As I deal with a lot of retirees, what I see is that in the beginning of their retirement, first year, second year, third year, a lot of them exhaust their lump sum. But the truth about retirement is that the first 5 years are a bit, easy. But as I said, inflation takes a toll on your income. So as you go along, you realize that your income may not be able to do as much as it used to, even if there are adjustments on a monthly basis, because that may not be enough to match up with the rate of inflation. That is why it's important to keep your money invested to take you through those difficult years. How do you join the Axis Annuity Plan? All you need is a minimum of 50,000 Ghana cedis to join the Axis Annuity Plan. And 50,000 Ghana cedis as at the time you are retiring, not today. You can actually sign up onto the Axis Annuity Plan as early as age 50 and make regular payments to accumulate the minimum amount. Once you hit your retirement, you can add whatever lump sums you'll be getting from your Tier 2, your Tier 3, and any other sources to these regular contributions that you have made. Remember that the more you have, the more income you can draw down on. So even if you already have the 50,000 and you hope to draw down on more income, you can do additional contributions. In Axis, we don't just sign you up onto a product, no. We have financial advisors that are there to make sure that your retirement is very comfortable. So you can speak to us to help you determine the appropriate program drawdown. We always work with you based on your own goals to determine what is good for you. I'm sure you may be wondering, can we make withdrawals? Yes, you can make withdrawals apart from that. However, as I said, we always advise. In fact, last year I had a retiree come to me and he wanted to take his son to school. And we had a discussion. I asked him, apart from this money you have, is there any money you have anywhere else? He said, no. I said, is your wife in a good position to support? He said, no. Are your children able to support? He said, no. Then I told him that then this lump sum, we have to guard with all our strength. Funny enough, in December, he called me that he had been ill and he had to come and take some of this money. So imagine he had taken this to sort out his child's needs. Then what happens to him? So how you manage your lump sum in retirement is very, very, very important. The way lump sums come, that's the same way they can go. So I always advise that you sit down and plan your lump sum so that it can make your retirement more comfortable and less unbearable. In summary, what I'll say is, when you are going on retirement, there are certain concerns we should take into consideration. Your healthcare costs will definitely be rising and you need to plan for that. We also have liquidity issues. A lot of the time, people take their lump sums and lock it up in projects. These projects are not able to give you cash. Therefore, any emergencies can throw you off board. So please be mindful of how you spend all your lump sums on projects. by all means do the project if you have enough resources to do that. But make sure you have money that you can fall back on in case of emergencies or any retirement needs you may have. Also, make sure that you keep your money invested. Please be careful about where you invest. Make sure that whatever firm you're investing in is credible. And as I said, you're going on retirement. We need to be conservative with our investments. Don't go and put your money somewhere just because of extremely high interest rates. Security before returns is something that we need to remember. In a nutshell, retirement can be a very exciting period. I've not been there before, but I've seen a lot of my clients who have money have a very comfortable retirement. I'm sure it could be yours too if you plan towards your retirement. Likely, a lot of us may have some time before we retire. So please contact us on our 0232738555 on our screen. It will show on our screen, and on our toll-free line, which is the 080001860. In Access, our priority is to make sure that every Access retiree retires comfortably. It's very important to us. Thank you so much for your time.
Very much, Mimi. Thank you very much. And just to reiterate what Mimi said, at Access, we ensure that every retiree retires comfortably. And that is why this platform and many other platforms have been created in order that we can help you retire comfortably. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mimi, our financial planner here at Access Pension Trust. And like I said earlier, we are happy to speak with you on all the dynamics concerning financial planning post-retirement. We would like to take another presentation from a doctor. And I also, let me just acknowledge that we notice your questions are still coming in. Please keep them coming. We would put all of them together and have our resource people respond to them at the appropriate time. So we have had a presentation from Mr. Charles Garshong. We have had a presentation from Mimi. We have had a presentation, and we're about to have another presentation. We would have 2 more presentations, and then we will start with a panel Q&A discussion. Let me take this opportunity to also recognize our Chief Finance Officer who has joined us on the table in the person of Mr. Matthew Money. Mr. Money, thank you very much for joining us and gracing our occasion this morning. So the next presentation will be on healthy living in retirement. Healthy living in retirement. I'm sure you all know that once you age and you go on retirement, once you exit from the active workforce, your health itself becomes your next challenge that you have to deal with, apart from the finances. And that is why your retirement planning is not complete until you also look at your health. To do this presentation is a doctor who is with the Geriatric Clinic at the University of Cape Coast Hospital. He is in the person of Dr. Madison Adanusa, who will be doing a presentation on healthy living in retirement. Hello, Doc. Are you with us, please?
Hello, Access. I'm here with you.
Fantastic. We can hear you. If you could kindly activate your camera, and if you have slides to share, you can do that as well.
I'm here with you.
In order that we will take your presentation, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear and see you live from your limousine.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc. Please take it away.
Okay. The screen sharing has to be enabled.
Sure, Doc. We will work on that now.
Okay.
Okay, can you confirm if you can see? We are sharing from our side.
Okay.
We can see from our side, so I'm sure you can begin.
All right. All right, so we want to talk about our health when we go on retirement. Our health when we go on retirement. I am a family physician to start with, and now I'm in the care of older adults. So most of my clients are usually those who have worked and have retired. So 60 years and above. We see a lot of things that are wrong with them, and we try to put a lot of life in the days that they have. What we do is not to unduly prolong life, but the life that you have, we want to put in as much vitality and quality as one can get. So we will introduce a subject matter. We'll talk about the changes we are to expect as we grow older. The presentation wouldn't be complete without the mention of COVID-19 and how we shall beat it. And then we'll conclude with some general advice. So what is aging? I'm sure if you had to take a survey of us all here, when you were in your 30s or 40s, how often did you go to the hospital to seek care? Most of us will say, oh, me, I don't go to hospital. For the women, it will be different because they have to get pregnant, go and deliver. So you will have the need for care in a health facility. But for the men especially, what they call masculinity, we seldom will go to the hospital. But as we age, we are converted from a young adult when we are very healthy and we do not need assistance to older adults, where our physiology, our fitness progressively declines and we stand at risk of illnesses and finally death. So you can be successful in your aging, or you can age usually, the usual way where just like they spoke, maybe you're on the basic one. That's the route everybody goes. Or you can be successful, like we are talking about access, their pension schemes and those things that will buffer you in your pension. So how can you be successful? So a successful person is, or successful aging is when you demonstrate minimal decline from aging alone, minimal. So when you were 50, you used to go and play soccer. Even at 65, 70, you're able to do a little more. You're able to play some soccer a little. Not that when you are 70, then you are homebound, you can't do anything and all. And for you to be able to be aging successfully, we have to start early before we get into that phase. Our healthy diet is always on top. Exercise. If we don't send anything out of this presentation, last year we centered on exercise alone. Exercise benefits everything, right from your memory to your heart to your lungs to even your bowels to your joints. Exercise is key. Social and intellectual stimulation. So if you interact with people, if you read a lot, you tend to age more successfully than somebody who hasn't read or who doesn't interact with anybody. If you smoke, when you stop smoking, it is good and it's contributory. And of course, if you drink heavily, you have to cut down on the drinking. That will help you to age successfully. Yeah, so this is more of a summary. We want to avoid diseases and disability. So if I smoke, chances are I'll get a cancer of the lung and other cancers. So I want to avoid it. If I smoke again, I could get some diseases that may impair the blood flow to my legs, and I may have an amputation because of that. So I avoid disability. We have to have a high cognitive and physical function. So cognitive, you are thinking, you are using your mind to generate or to solve problems. And physically, you are moving. You are not in the car, from the car to the office to the car, no exercise. We have to be on the move. And then engagement with life. This is the only life we have. We live only once. And we have to enjoy life. What is the point? That you are waiting and waiting till maybe your retirement before you enjoy life? No, you have to start enjoying life now, of course, responsibly. There are friends, there are other societies, church, community, neighborhoods. All these things help us to be able to engage with life properly, so we do not feel alone and lonely and depression setting in and all that. So the whole world is aging. We are aging, the world is aging. So that is why we are moving from a life expectancy of which was 50 years some decades ago. Now we are inching to about 70 years, even in Ghana. So the world over, those who are more than 65 years old accounts for about 15%. And this percentage will keep increasing. It will keep increasing by the day. COVID came to reduce it a lot. In the US, it reduced the life expectancy by about 1.5 years, which is the highest after the World War II. So it has come down, but now COVID is being conquered. So we will all grow older. We'll all grow older than our parents and possibly than our grandparents. So how are we supposed to prepare for that 20 years or 25 or 30 years that you'll be staying after retirement? Yeah, so there's a life expectancy worldwide. The females will always live longer than the males, well, because of genetic factors, their biology, their hormones are different from us. But the men will engage in lifestyles that are risky, jobs that are risky. They'll be climbing all the poles, they'll be doing the mining under the pits and all that, they'll be driving the trucks. So it comes with a lot of risks, of course. The men will also be smoking and doing a lot more things. But overall, women live longer. Of course, women seek more healthcare than men. That also accounts for why they live longer. In Ghana here, we are not doing bad at all. If you check the population, we are expected to live, if somebody is born today, they are expected to live for about 69.01 years. The males will live for 67.33 years, and then the females 70.74 years. But as Mimi said, for now, if you are 60, for a woman, a female, you're expected to live about 18 years more. And if you're a man, you're expected to live about 16 years more. There's a life expectancy calculator on the net, on the internet, which takes into account a lot of things: your history, your family history, your engagement with life, whether you are depressed, whether you have depression, whether you have hypertension, diabetes, any disease that you have, anxiety, whether you are satisfied with a job, whether you are happily married. So how long we live depends on a lot of things, not only the health conditions we have or do not have, but life itself. How happy we are as a people also helps us to live longer. Yeah, so the next 3 slides are telling us why we get the diseases that we get. So as we age, we get more cancers, we get more knee pains, waist pain, and every pain everywhere. We get our hypertensions, for which we have to be buying medications that are expensive every month. We get our pneumonias easily because our immune system is going down. We get our constipation, the diabetes will come in there. We fall down when we fracture our bones. And then we start developing memory problems. And then we start falling. Our ears do not hear well. Our sight grows a bit dim. Even when we taste the best of our food, it doesn't taste like some 2 decades ago. Our sense of smell is not as sharp. and even touch becomes a bit low. We lose the sense of stability, and then falls will come inside. All these things will beset us when we grow old or in the process of growing old, usually after 60 or after 65. Reason we should prepare for it. So, heart diseases, cancer, and stroke, the world over, they are the ones that will cause the most death, the top 3 causes of death in the whole world. Ghana is no different. Ghana is no different. So what shall we do? What brings the heart diseases? The hypertensions. How will we prevent the hypertensions? Our diet, by reducing the amount of salt we take, not adding salt at table. By exercising, at least engaging in physical activity, 30 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day for 5 days in a week. That is good. We are strengthening the heart. And if you have the hypertension, by taking your medications and not relying on something that Appiah would suggest, that orthodox medicine, you have to take it for life, but this medicine cures it. So your BP goes up and you get heart failure and you die. Or your BP goes up and you have a heart attack and then you die. We don't want us to be dying of something we can prevent. The cancers, yes, cervical cancer, breast cancer, cancer of the colon, cancer of the liver, and all. How may we prevent some? For some of them, prostate for the men. For some of them, you can screen and know it about 10 years ahead of time. That cancer of the colon is an example. There are screening modalities that will help us to know it 10 years ahead of time. Prostate cancer, there is also screening. Breast cancer, there is screening, and we can be able to know some of these things ahead of time. Usually cancer, if it is detected early, it can be cured. But when it is not detected early, then within 5 years or even less, life expectancy becomes a bit tricky. And then stroke, one big one, stroke, a disease that we can prevent because we know what brings it on. The hypertensions, the diabetes, the high cholesterols, the obesity. You have grown so big because you are not physically active or because you are eating all the food that contains fat. You are eating all the food that contains the oils. We need to be able to prevent this. You have been given medications and regimen, dietary regimen, but we do not follow. When 100 people get stroke, 1 in 3, that is 30%, about 33%, die out of that stroke. It's a needless death. About a third again would recover with some deficits. So they would not die, but maybe half of their body will be paralyzed. How do these people survive? Even when you are up and about and going, you are unable to make ends meet. How much more when you are paralyzed and you are in a wheelchair or you are bedridden? Are you going to spend money to get a nurse to sit by you 24/7 to be changing your diapers? Money that is not enough for you. The pensions they calculated on the screen, we saw them. You have to make a lot of adjustments. So are we going to get money to employ people to look after us because we have a stroke? What else we may be able to do a lot of things to prevent the stroke. Luckily, a third of people will recover fully and go back to their work. But we do not know when it happens to you, who will recover, who will die, and who will be bedridden for life. So we have to be interested in our health and in the very small things like our body mass index. That just gives us a measure of how big you are, comparing it to your height. So we know that from 19 to 24.5 or 24.9 kilogram per meter squared, you are in the normal weight. We start getting overweight after 25, and we start getting obese after 30 kilogram per meter square. We have to be interested in this. So if we are overweight or obese, We talk to your healthcare provider. How do I reduce my weight? Dietitians are available to give us a guidance. When you reduce your weight, it helps you to reduce your blood pressure. The pressure on your heart goes down. The risk of heart attacks and strokes go down. We have to know our blood pressure. Blood pressure increases as we age. It increases as we age. It's automatic. Some people have not. They are at about 40 years, they haven't had a blood pressure check before, unless there is a mass screening that they take advantage of that. But let us, even if we don't have a family history of hypertension, once a year, you have to pass by the hospital and then get your blood pressure checked. If it is rising, medications, lifestyle modifications are prescribed, and then you go by them. If you are hypertensive and the medications that you are giving you troubles, we prescribe that you come to us back and then we discuss. For a lot of the men, one of the things that makes them stop taking their medicines is things to do with the erectile dysfunction. We know some of the medication may reduce erection and things like that, but it doesn't happen in all cases. So when we are giving the medications, we warn that this may happen. When it happens, we are all ready, or we are all set to be able to dialogue with you to either withdraw that medication, replace it with another one, or reduce the dose, and or give you medications that will make your erection better. I agree. Once you are living, you have to have full function of all your organs. So I may act similarly. If this drug will give me that why am I living? The pleasure with which I'm living, why am I living? So you come, whatever side effects there are, come, let's discuss, and then we can solve it together. You have to know your blood sugar. Nobody was born with diabetes. We all develop it, especially type 2 diabetes as we grow old. 40 years, our blood sugar starts increasing. But how may we reduce it? You have to know the level first, and how may you reduce it? The amount of refined sugar. You are putting a lot of sugar in your food. You are drinking a lot of soft drinks. You are drinking a lot of so-called fruit juices, not the freshly prepared ones by you, but the ones that are in the paper and the can and the rest. These will tend to increase your blood sugar. You are eating so much in the night. They will increase your blood sugar and its attendant heart, kidney problems, and even stroke. Cholesterol. Yes, so we have to eat and feel good. Yes, but we have to know how much of what we have to eat. Are we eating all the trophy in the world? Are we eating all the meat? We are eating all the beef every time. Fish is better. Fish is better. And proteins from from plant sources. The granules are good. And other sources of protein that are less in cholesterol. They have less cholesterol in them. They are healthier and better than the meat. I am not saying we should not eat meat. No, we should eat meat, but we should balance it with a lot more of fish. So our cholesterol will go down. So we don't need to take medication. But if it happens that we have to take medications, let us not resist taking medications, because it helps us. It helps us to prevent the heart attacks, which are one of the major causes of death, and helps us to prevent the strokes, which is the third major cause of death amongst the elderly. So those are for the mostly non-communicable disease. That's what we are dying from. So now for the cancer, for our women, our dear mothers and sisters, what can we do? Breast cancer screening. When you are 40, you are advised to have a mammogram. I'm sure most of your workplaces, they provide such opportunities for you to go and have medical screening. And please, as we are in employment, let's take advantage of some of these, because when we get out of employment, many companies do not give us such opportunities. So let us go for screening. If for nothing at all, you can go walk into a hospital and then get a nurse to examine your breast. But at 40, and of course, most of us here are more than 40, most of us on this forum, you should at least have a mammogram. And that if it is normal, every 3 years, you can repeat it to see. Because even if it's very small, 1 centimeter thing that they see, they can get it out. Cervical cancer screening, it's not too expensive. You go, they do a pap smear and they say it is normal, hallelujah. But then they will give you another interval to come because this cancer grows slowly. It can be detected within about 10 years from the time it starts. And when it is detected, it is very curable. So let's take advantage. We don't want us to use our pension money and pension funds to be doing chemotherapy, to be doing radiotherapy because of something we could have detected earlier and dealt with when we had the strength and when we had the financial power. For the men, our prostates, we have to screen for it. The PSA, you do a pelvic scan that shows your prostate is becoming big. But is it cancer or not cancer? A few more tests will be able to tell us. If it is cancer, it is curable. If it is cancer, it is curable. If it is detected early, even if it is detected late, something can be done about it. But if we do not screen at all, or we would know that one day we are urinating blood, or one day we are unable to walk because the cancer has moved to our spine and it has affected our legs. For both men and women, colon cancer is also a slow-growing tumor with colonoscopy. They put a tube at your backside that can be done every 10 years. So you do one. Usually the recommendation is that when we are 50, we should have 1 colonoscopy every 10 years. You do one every 10 years. When it is okay, you are fine. The next 10 years before you do another one. We should be able to do some of these, especially when we are in service or towards the end of our service. So that at least when we are being discharged from work, we go in some appreciable level of health. And of course, as we are going to live more, some of us are going to live 20 years, 25, 30 years. We should be able to do some of these things to safeguard our health. Yes, we are in the COVID era. So the Bushia pains and Oba pains we are the ones who have gathered. You have to go for funerals, you have to go for weddings and all that. We hear, I mean, COVID has turned the events that hitherto used to be very, very, very joyous events into sad ones, because you hear of stories where a father attends a daughter's wedding and 2 or 3 weeks later, the man is gone because of COVID. It has limited our social interactions and all, but we have to bear with it for now. We have to bear with it for now so that COVID can be conquered and then we can all return to our normal ways of life, because we have to live first before we can enjoy the fruits of our labor. So the hand washing, we can't stop talking about it. We will always talk about it. When you wash your hands, all the bacteria and the viruses are out. The face mask, when we are in public, we have to wear them. Social distancing, we have to be able to do that when we are in public. Vaccination, now the vaccines are becoming available. Please let's avail ourselves to it. The conspiracy theories and all that, it doesn't help anybody. Let us avail ourselves to the vaccination. It protects to a very large extent, and especially for the elderly whose immune system is going down, it's waning, it gives an extra layer of protection. And of course, when there are symptoms, you feel you are having a fever, you're having a cough, you are feeling cold, you can't smell or taste, please report early. When you report early, chances are when treatment is instituted, you are able to recover well. But when the symptoms have been there for 2 weeks and more, and you report, and now you are now gasping, you now have to be put on oxygen, then everything becomes, it hangs in a balance, 50-50. So please, let's report early if us or any of our relatives get something like that. Yes, so and let's avoid, they say, oh, when you do ginger, it helps. So you're having a cough, you can't smell, you're having a little difficulty in breathing, and your peer or you yourself, you say you will eat ginger and sugar or ginger and something else, and that's all you are doing. And you do that until you are too weak to report. That doesn't help. We have to live so we can enjoy our pension and its benefits. And when you are hypertensive or diabetic, we have to take our medications because COVID makes hypertension and diabetes worse. It makes hypertension and diabetes worse. We have to take it and be fit, be in a good shape of health so that even if any disease comes, we will not die of a complication of the already existing hypertension or diabetes because that one is controlled. So that our immune system can be able to channel its energies to fight the new infection that comes. Psychologically and mentally, we should be healthy. When you go on retirement, even your workplace, when you go there, nobody really, sometimes or most times, nobody really wants to give you face. So what do you do with all the time that you have? We have to do a lot of reading, a lot of networking to keep yourself busy. Of course, if you have a business to run, you run that business. If you have to involve yourself in community, because you would have age, you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of experience that you can teach the younger people. Involve yourself in it, but now cautiously because of COVID. Yes, and then if you have to travel, now traveling is a bit cagey because of COVID, but you have to live, you have to be happy in life. You have to be happy. You have to do things that make you happy responsibly. Of course, you are not going to maybe ski or go diving at 60. Your reflexes are not as sharp. So we don't do that one. And when you are feeling depressed, please call out. You have peers, you have colleagues, even you have people who are younger than you. Call out, call out, call out early. We don't want to hear, oh, he went to retirement 3 years after he committed suicide. No. And suicide rates are increasing in Ghana. We do not want that. It is because of human beings that human beings are around. And everybody has had to need help at one point in time or the other. And mental health is also, or psychological health is also part of health. Just like when you need money and you go to the bank, there is nothing disgraceful about calling out when you need help. And then let's seek help from the right places. Let's seek help from the right health sources, not from places that they will take all your money. And when the thing is getting worse, they will say, please go to hospital, go to Kolebu. You may have no money to pay, and you may not have a chance of survival because you would have spent all your resources, one, and two, the disease would have been severe. Yes, so now, what are we doing? They say we should not interact so much. So what shall we do? There is a telephone, the mobile phone is there. We can call anybody anywhere in the world. Even more attractive is the video conferencing calls. So one is your daughter or son is in Australia. Another one is in China. You can all join on a video call every Sunday through WhatsApp or any of the video calls, and then you talk. That in itself makes you know, oh, my daughter is fine, my son is fine, my brother is doing well. If there is anything you share together, that togetherness, knowing that we are still one, is very, very important for your psychology. It's very, very important for your mental health. Now we don't have to wait for people to write us letters. We can see face to face how people are doing. Of course, in meetings, a lot of meetings like the one we are having is by Zoom. We are socializing on a virtual platform. You may have watches that will count your steps. Okay, I have done 12,000 steps today, and you feel good. Of course, you are exercising your heart, your muscles, and your joints, and everything. And then let's try and stay abreast. Listen to radio, watch TV, do the things that makes you know that you are still living, and you are still part of the nation, and you are still part of the society that you've labored to for all these years. Do not isolate yourself. Be abreast with things that are happening. So we have heard this over and over and over again. Exercise 30 minutes a day, it will help. Your diet, low sugar, low salt, low fat, less meat, more fish. High fiber diets are better. And less processed foods, fruits and vegetables, let's eat them. We have to meditate at least 10 minutes in a day, your quiet time, or whichever religion that you subscribe to. Have some time of solitude and commune with your maker or whichever deity you subscribe to. It helps a lot. Smoking cessation, if you smoke, we want to tell you to stop. Alcohol reduction, if you take a lot of alcohol, it is not good for your system. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your liver, all the cancers that it comes with, cirrhosis. So we also implore us to reduce the amount of alcohol that we take. This will make us live a very healthy life in our retirement, be able to play all the golf that we want to play, to be able to go for our daughters and our granddaughters' weddings and all that we need to do so that we feel good as a people, we feel accomplished, that after all, after our work life, we are still useful to society and to family and to the nation at large. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Very, very, very grateful for your presentation. It's always insightful to hear from you, Doc. So what we will do is that we would read out a few questions and then we will have answers to them. But Doc, we'll give you some time to catch your breath. What I'll do is I'll read questions to our two earlier presenters so that they can respond to some of the questions that have come in. And then we will come back to you, Doc. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so the first set of questions will be addressed to Mr. Emmanuel Ntreh, and a few questions have come in, and so I'm going to read it out to him, and then he would respond to it accordingly. The first one is from E.B. Anson, and this is what he says. He says, I've been trying to port my Tier 2 contribution from Gentrust to another fund manager so as to consolidate it since 2017, but without any success. I lodged a complaint with the NPRA for assistance and I was recently informed that Gentrust has been suspended from paying the accrued benefits. Is there any way I could be assisted? So, Mr. Ntreh, kindly take notice of that. I'll read a few more questions for you. Another one is from John Tete, and he says, how does the insurance scheme work with access schemes? How does the insurance scheme work with access scheme? I want to know if it covers COCOBOD staff on the insurance package. The next one is from John, and he says, please, can my contribution serve as a collateral for a loan facility? Can my contribution serve as a loan collateral for a loan facility? The next one is from Pat, and Pat says that, can you please throw more light on the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3? Explain briefly the Cedar Provident Fund. So Mr. Emmanuel Ntreh will respond to about these 4 questions, and then we will take the next set of questions. Mr. Ntreh.
Thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you all for the questions that we have received so far. Indeed, this seminar has been very interactive. So the first question is on the transfer that E.B. Anson has been doing from Gentrust. Okay, so Gentrust actually handles the TPFA. So that's a temporary pension fund account. So contributions that were made from January 2010 to October 2012. Okay, so the current transfer process has been halted by NPRA. So just to understand you, it's either you are referring to the TPFA, but if it's just a normal transfer from your previous employer, that should not be on hold. So you can actually contact us right after this session so we can get further clarification on it. If it's a TPFA, yes, it's on hold because of data issues. MPRA is processing and reviewing the data. But if it's a normal transfer from your previous employer, that shouldn't be a challenge at all. So kindly engage us so we can help you accordingly. The insurance scheme only applies to our master trust scheme. So that's if you're a member of the CEDA pension scheme, CEDA Provident Fund, and also the Access pension plan, that is the privately managed pension. So if you are part of an employer-sponsored scheme, unfortunately, you do not have the opportunity to enjoy the insurance scheme as well. So the sum assured is 5,000 Ghana cedis, and it's only applicable in the event of death or medical incapacitation. So it is important that you do amend or update your beneficiary details as often as possible. And it commenced from January 2020. So from January 2020, if you know of any individual who is a member of these three schemes that I've mentioned and is no more or medically incapacitated, yes, you put in the application and we can process and make payments. This is aside the benefits that you receive from your tier 2, tier 3, and also the Access pension plan. And the good news is that it's at no cost to the member. So it's fully funded by Access pensions. The other question is from John. He said, please, can my contribution serve as a collateral for loan facilities? Unfortunately, the tier 2 contributions or your tier 2 scheme cannot be used as collateral for a loan facility. Yes, but the tier 3 is a voluntary scheme. So if the employer deems it fits per the arrangement of the employer and the financing institution, they agree that you use your tier 2 as a collateral for loan facility, that can be done. But the law provides that you can use your tier 2 and your tier 3 as a collateral for your primary mortgage. So your first residence, yes, you can use your tier 2 and tier 3 as a collateral for your primary mortgage. But for loan facilities, you can only pledge your tier 3 and not the tier 2. Then Pat is asking that we throw more light on tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So basically, tier 1 and tier 2 are mandatory scheme. So the basic pension benefit you should expect as an employee, at least, is tier 1 and tier 2, whereby tier 1 pays monthly pensions and tier 2 gives you a lump sum. The tier 3 is a voluntary scheme, which also gives a lump sum. Okay, so you have up to 16.5% tax qualified contributions into the tier 3 scheme. So it just gives you an avenue to be able to invest more, make more money to augment what you receive from tier 1 and tier 2. And the CEDA Provident Fund, okay, it's a tier 3 scheme and it's managed by Access Pension Trust. It is a multi-employer scheme. So we have quite a number of employers enrolled onto the tier 3 scheme. So I just want to mention here that, yes, even though you are proceed on retirement, if you are with a company that does not do a tier 3, I think that it's important to start engaging the employer so that Access can also come in and throw more light on the benefits of having a tier 3 so that you can also enjoy that as such. I believe I've been able to address all those questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. And so please keep your questions coming in. We would have our panelists respond to all of them at the right time. The next set of questions, I think, are addressed to Mimi. Mimi is our financial planner. And so I'll read out the questions so she can come and respond to them. The first one is from Joyce. Joyce is saying, any advice on how to invest my money from tier 2 after pension if I don't want to touch it? The next one is from Atta. Atta is asking, please, I have an Access pension plan already. Can I turn it into an Access annuity plan when it reaches 50,000 to qualify me? The next one is from Lawrence. Lawrence is saying the Access pension annuity, is it for a fixed period? Is it for a fixed period? And what is the principal? Is the principal paid back? The next one is also from, I think, a Mimi, which is saying that how much interest are paid for the contributions per year and any financial help from your outfit. So our financial planner would respond to all of these questions that you have asked, and then we will go back to the presentations. Mimi.
Question is from Joyce. Any advice on how I should invest my tier 2 after pensions if I don't want to touch it? Joyce, what we normally do is have a session with you to understand your individual situation before we go ahead to advise. But if you're talking about the annuity plan, yes, you can keep your money invested till the time you think you would need some, so you can do that. There's another question from Mata. Please, I have an Access pension plan. Can I turn it into an annuity plan when I reach the 50,000 to qualify me? Definitely you can do that. Once you hit 50,000, you qualify. So even if you don't have 50,000 and you have some time left till retirement, you can work towards that. As I mentioned, kindly reach us would help you with a retirement plan so that you are able to achieve that goal. And from Lawrence, the Access annuity plan, is it for a fixed period? Is it so that at the end of the period, you get your principal paid back? Well, Lawrence, so for the Access annuity plan, we have a number of different arrangements based on what you need. But if you want one that pays your principal back after a certain period, would have that discussion and settle on how much you can get every month and the principal payout at the end of whatever period is agreed. As I said, this is a tailored product, so it works based on sit down and us knowing your needs and us designing something to suit you. Another question from my namesake Mimi. How much interest is paid for contribution per year? Any financial help from your outfit? Okay, so just like your tier 2 and tier 3, we are not allowed to guarantee any returns. Last year we did 18 plus, but that is last year. So we are not allowed to guarantee any returns, but I assure you that it will be decent enough. The good thing about the Access retirement annuity is that we diversify in fixed income security. So you are not just investing in one product. If you invest in the Access retirement annuity plan, we invest in different fixed income investments so that you can benefit from the diversification. Unfortunately, we don't give any loans, or if that's what you mean by financial help, we don't give any loans, but we give advice. And that is also financial help. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mimi. Thank you so much for responding to your questions. Initially, we had scheduled to take a presentation from a retiree. Unfortunately, we were having connectivity challenges, but I believe it has been resolved now, and so we can go and take that presentation. The presentation is basically on what to expect during retirement. And so if Dr. Bernard Boateng-Duah, if you're online, please confirm if you can hear me so that we can take your presentation. Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc. Can you hear us, please?
Hello.
While we wait to get, hello, Doc.
Hello.
Yes, Doc, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, Doc, we can hear you. It's good to have you back.
Thank you for having me program. Very happy. Unfortunately,
I see you in your beautiful office too.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Now, my presentations, my experience with retirement. When we retire, what we want to do during this time prior to retirement is to consider your housing and accommodation after retirement. Are you retiring into your own home? Are you renting an apartment or living in a family house? Are you renting part of your own house to tenants? These are some of the considerations that you have to do when you make these things. In my experience, I've realized that you need people around you all the time. So even if you had your own home, there is this condition called the empty nest syndrome. Your children will go and you'll be left with your own, only you and your spouse. And it can be very, 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 very depressing. All the activities that you used to go, the hula balloons, the yeah that was happening in your home is quiet, and you are left with your wife. And mostly, because men are always older, your wife will also go to work if she's a working person, and then you'll be left at home alone. That is something that is not very pleasant, and we try to avoid it. So if you are retiring, think of where you are going to stay, in your own home, or say that you build a house, say that you rent part of it. So at least you have neighbors that you can easily talk to. I want this to be prominent. Yeah. Let this come. Okay, that's fine. Hello, do you hear me? Okay.
Yes, Doug, we can hear you. We can also see your slides showing.
Yes, okay. So the relationships between you and your spouse, between you and your tenants, between you and all these are quite important. My earlier presenter did talk about having people around you, and these are very, very important. Another important thing that we discuss, you come to realize, is your investment plans, for which I was lucky to have had a lump sum. So you get a lump sum. What do you do with your lump sum? Are you going to build a house with it? Are you going to buy a commercial vehicle, example, an Uber, taxi, etc.? Is a chunk of the lump sum going to go towards your children's education, school fees? What are you going to do with it? Experience has shown that buying a commercial vehicle that you yourself are not going to drive, for example, Uber, taxis, at the end of the day, they don't pay. I have had personal experience of buying 2 Ubers. At the end of the day, I had to sell them off, and I did not get the benefit that I wanted to get. Saving towards your children's education, that is a very important thing. If you are lucky and by the time you get to pension, your children are working, then they can fly out of the nest, and you'll be lucky to spend your pension money on yourself and on your spouse. And when you have that opportunity, travel and have recreation. So what you do actually is to divide your pension money into 3 or whatever percentage that you want to. Part of it will be, a third of it should be for yourself. You've worked your life. So it's up to you to enjoy part of your monies that you've accrued and saved over the period. And you can use that to travel throughout the country, have recreation. And that is very important, because We have worked all our lives, even in our leave times, we go and do other jobs. So when you are retired, you should then travel. One of the easiest ones is to have what we call the funeral tourism. When you hear that one of your relatives' mother is died at Tamale, you take the advantage and travel all the way and go. Not because necessarily but to mourn with the person, as well as also see new places. And these are very lovely. I love nature a lot. And so I like to travel throughout the country to very picturesque areas. I saved part of my pension also in Forex. 3 years ago, if I compare what I have now, the value of the dollar, the value of the pound, currently, at least, I haven't gained so much, but the money value, the time value, or the money value of my savings into the Forex has been very useful. And then, of course, my pension fund, how to use it. I have designed my system in such a way that a part of my pension fund is still left and growing in the pension fund. And then another part is the drawdown, which you add to your SSNIT money. Remember that your SSNIT payment is about 40% of what you were earning. And I'm sure the first speaker from SSNIT came to elaborate it. And he mentioned 37.5% or something like that. And it's true, I earn around 40% of what I was earning. So if I add my drawdown to rate, then it makes me a little, it takes me to about 70–75% of what I was earning. Another important thing is that within now, I assume most of you are in your 50s and getting towards a pension. From now, you should have 2 or more income streams apart from your SSNIT. If you are strong enough, you have to have established something of interest that will earn you some money to add to your SSNIT as well as your drawdown. And you can invest into some business ventures which you are very conversant with, not something new and risky. Have you thought about your hobbies? Have you thought about the fact that your hobbies can actually pay you? These are very important areas. Think of it now. My hobby was actually farming. And I went into poultry farming. I went into plantation farming. And any profession that you can continue to do after retirement is very beneficial. So look at your hobbies, what interests you so much, and invest in it. From now, you set up something which will bring an income when you retire. You will also be so much involved in research that you will not be lonely. So these are some of the areas that I believe that if you work on it, making your hobbies pay you. I have a poultry farm, I have rubber plantation, not so big, I mean something that will wrap around, I have, so that at least they bring in a little here, a little there, you add it to your SSNIT plus your drawdown, and you are almost at how much you are receiving when you retire. I will not dwell much here because my earlier colleague presenter has spoken about all these things. But remember, this is the time that all these sicknesses rear their ugly heads. Are you diabetic? Are you hypertensive? Do you have any cardiac disease? Do you have any cancers? Remember that your previous employment, whilst you were in employment, you could receive free medical care from your employers whilst you are at work. But the moment you come on pension, some may even support you, but they may not pay for all the things that you need to sustain. So you have to have saved some funds for your health care. What is also very important is that You have to accept the fact that you are retired. A lot of people don't, they feel so energetic at 60 and plus. They think that they can do the same things that they used to do earlier on. No. Please have the realization that you have retired. And one of the funniest thing that one of my friends had was going to the bank at the end of the month to go and collect his salary, and then realized that midway along the line, he realized he was on leave, so he had to come. He was on pension, so there was no money. You know, he would normally receive an alert that your money has come, but he waited at the end of the month, no salary showing on his phone. He was going to the bank to inquire, and then he realized that he was on pension. They had to come back. So these things happen. We also have to take a back seat in the situations that used to be at the forefront. Take a back seat. Your time has passed. The new generation has come in. So you have to take a back seat and let others go. You can direct, you can advise, but your advice can be taken or not. So you have to accept that also. As for diet and healthy eating and exercise, my colleague has spoken so much about it, so I won't spend much time on it. What I have come to, the next slide. These are just images showing heart attacks because of hypertension, diabetes, cancers, healthy eating, exercise. These are very important for us after 60. Walk around parks. If you can at least indulge in some exercise on a school park near you, walk around the park a little bit, walk until you sweat. And of course, have a good diet and a good relationship. When you retire, you have to realize that the emptiness syndrome has caught up with you. Your children are gone. That big house that you built, probably you were alone in that house. Your wife or your spouse may have been transferred and you were alone. And so how do you relate with your siblings, extended family? This is the time that people will be eyeing you to be the Busuapeni. Maybe if you are in a royal house, a lot of people will be coming to you for advice and other things. Your old friends and colleagues, you do not leave them. Those are the best places that you can have very fulfilling relationships. Your old friends and your colleagues, your class 1, your secondary school classmates, and your former workplace. Retirees Association, all students associations, these are very important areas. We are lucky now because of technology. We all have these WhatsApp groups of all students, retirees here and there. These are very important things. And for most of us who are Christians or Muslims, this is a time that you can dedicate yourself to your religious activities, church, mosque and religious activities. For these, you do not joke with them because they offer a lot of comfort, they offer a lot of social support, and they offer a lot of psychological support. And a lot of people will be coming to you for counseling and for direction because you are a very experienced person, because you've lived a fulfilling life. People will be coming to you for advice. And those are the things that make you proud. So it is important that you look at all these things very well. But to me, the most important thing is your financial or investment that you are doing. within now and the time that you go on retirement, make sure you have a second or possibly a third income stream. It is very, 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 very useful. If you get your lump sum, take critical look, seek advice from the professionals as to how you can distribute these ones. The average lifespan of a Ghanaian man is about 68, thereabout. And a Ghanaian woman will live for about 70 years. If you are lucky, God adds up, you may go up. SSNIT will pay you those benefits until you are 75 years. And so if you spread your drawdown lump sum over a 10 or 15-year period, you will live honestly as if nothing has happened, and you live comfortably, especially when you are having some 2 or 3 other income sources coming to supplement your SSNIT and your drawdown pension fund. This is what I will share for you. I will share with you, and I'll welcome some questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doc, for your presentation. It's certainly, I think once all these presentations are done, one of the most important one is to hear from, as we say, the horse's own mouth, in order that you're able to appreciate exactly how true or otherwise the things that we say here are. So I'm very grateful that you have shared from a point of experience from your side. I have, I think, a question here for you. The question is, should the thought of retirement scare us? Should the thought of retirement scare us? Hello, Doc. Doc, kindly work on your microphone if maybe you accidentally put it on mute, so we can hear you. Whilst we wait to hear from Doc, if Dr. Adanusa, you are online, please confirm if you're online and you can hear me.
Yes, I'm right here.
Fantastic. So, Dr. Adanusa, I think there's a question here for you. So whilst we wait for Dr. Duah to come back online, if you could kindly respond to this one. There's a question from Kweku, and Kweku is asking, is honey any better than processed sugar? And can I have the side effects of taking too much fruits? So I think it's a two-in-one question. Is honey better than processed sugar? And what is the side effects of taking too much fruits?
All right, so honey also contains sugar, but that is a different kind of sugar. It's not like the processed sugar, but eventually it gets converted to glucose at the end of the day. So we do not prescribe or we do not tell people to go and take so much of the honey because it isn't the white or crystalline sugar that we are seeing. Eventually, it will be converted to the glucose that is an end product of the sugar that we are taking. It is organic and all, but then the end product is glucose. That will be all in the blood that runs through our body. So you may use it to sweeten your food, but like in everything, moderation is the key. Side effects of eating too much fruits. Yes, so fruits are good, but they also will end up being converted to sugar. Okay, so you have watermelons, apples, whatever. You eat, if you are eating like an apple a day, that is good. or 2 or 3 fingers of bananas a day, it is also good. Drinking 1 or 2 coconut juice a day, that is wonderful. But it isn't the thing that you should go and have a whole basket or bucket of mangoes because it's in its season, and then you sit and consume all of it. You definitely have some diarrhea, and then if you are diabetic, you don't go there at all. For diabetics, you have to limit the amount of fruits you eat, but you can go very high on carbohydrate, on fiber, on vegetables. The other thing is, of course, if you're taking a lot of fruits like watermelon and it's close to bedtime, you have to urinate a lot in your at night, and that will definitely disturb your sleep. Other than that, fruits are good. Let's take it in moderation. But of course, when you are diabetic, then you have to be very, very careful because they have the potential to shoot up your sugar. So with that one, your dietitian will plan your diet for you. How much of which fruits are you allowed to take? How much of which fruits are you allowed to take every day? That will be planned for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm most grateful. So I'll jump from Dr. Adanusa to Dr. Duah. And Dr. Duah, the question I was asking earlier is, should the thought of retirement scare us as we approach that phase of life?
Can you come again with the question?
Should the thought of retirement scare us as we approach it?
No. Retirement is actually a very, very beautiful thing. It is, when you wake up in the morning and you don't have to rush and go to work, but you do things in your own time. It is one of the most beautiful things that I've come to find. You get up 6 a.m. and then rush by 7 o'clock, you are in the traffic and get into work. But at retirement, you sleep comfortably. You wake up at 7 o'clock, no stress on you. But all because you had planned, all because you have programmed yourselves towards a successful retirement. Retirement is one of the best things that comes. It's a fulfillment of your hard work. And now I need brown. I'm happy. And of course, if you are prepared yourself towards that one, then you should not be afraid at all. In fact, you should welcome it. It's something which is welcoming. So no fears.
Okay, thank you very much, Doc. No fears, and that is how we would end the question for you. Dr. Adanusa, I would also like to say a very big thank you to you for joining us all the way from Cape Coast. Let me say that Dr. Duah also joined us all the way from Takoradi. And so our 2 doctors, one in Cape Coast, one in Takoradi, that's why the Fanti drops in and out like that. It has to be represented. And we come back to you with any questions that we may have in the future. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, all too soon we have come to the end of our 2021 pre-retirement seminar organized by Axis Pension Trust. Like I said, what we do is we'll bring everybody together once in a year. However, in the event that you want us to come to your respective offices to host this for members of your team or your retirees or people who are going on retirement, we can organize this at the institutional level as well. However, this is an annual event that we organize so that we can all come together and share ideas. We would put our telephone numbers, our contact details, our SMS, USSD contact details as well online, so that you will be able to access and get in touch with all of us over here anytime that you have any questions for us to respond to. Let me mention also that we very much encourage members to update your beneficiary details. I noticed a question came as to how do you update your beneficiary details. If you are on the Axis scheme, you can easily go on our portal and log into your account and be able to update your beneficiary details online. So you don't need to come to Axis Pension. Otherwise, you can talk to your HR manager and request for a beneficiary update form in order that you update your beneficiary details. We very much encourage you also to download the Access Pension app in order that you are able to access directly your account at any point in time, whether on an Android phone or any of the phone that you may use. We would also, in the event that you want to talk to us, please feel free to reach us on our contact center lines. We work 14 hours from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. At any point in time, you can reach us, and then we'll have an officer speak to you. We thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to any more questions that will be coming. We would address it directly to your email addresses and also on phone. Thank you very much for making time to join us on this year's pre-retirement seminar. It's a goodbye from us at Access Pension, and we wish you the very best. Thank you.